Let me say a special good morning to the listeners, special good morning to the viewers. Welcome to today's edition of To The Point. It's Friday, it's the 7th day of August 2026. Good morning to those of you listening, of course, via our social media platforms, Facebook page, YouTube channels. Good morning to you and welcome. I'm your host, GT. With me this morning, I have the Deputy Political Leader of the DPM, Mr. Arley Gill, with us this morning. Good morning to you, sir. And as I did mention the last time you were here, welcome back.
Thank you very much, GT, and happy Carnival to each and every one of the members of the listening and viewing public. Just want to wish everybody straight off the bat a safe and enjoyable Carnival. Carnival is here.
Yep.
The reign of the Merry Monarch. So
a few weeks ago, we were just saying Carnival coming.
Yes, it has arrived. To all of our to all of our visitors, to all of our returning nationals, welcome to Spice Mass. Have a good time. Participate, in the not only the Juve, but support the shows. The shows put on by Spice Mass Corporation, the private shows. Play a traditional mass, play a fancy mass. Go to Panorama. Get the experience.
It's so true.
Full experience of Spice Mass.
As we are on that note of Carnival, I want to kick it off on that way. You recently spoke up against using, live animals, during jab portrayal. Noting that, we live in an enlightened age.
Definitely.
You spoke about that. How can the Spice Mass Corporation, sir, and the local community leaders enforce this without stripping away the raw, ancestral element of traditional mass? Let's kick it off like that.
Well, first of all is education. I always believe in education, so that to mass band leaders, masqueraders, jab practitioners, so to speak, we share with them. We educate them with regards to the treatment of animals and so on.
Yeah.
And in the 1980s and so on, those things were much more acceptable. As growing up as a child, snake and serpent and so on was almost natural part of the jab display.
Yeah.
In these modern times and so on, no. We speak of cruelty of animals,
and so forth.
endangered species and so on and so forth. We can't be doing the same things we'll be doing there. There are other ways that we can portray the jab masquerade without having to hurt animals and display that part of the cruelty. It's not necessary. It's not part of the authenticity of the jab display. So it begins with education. I always believe in teaching and helping persons and say, listen, this not making sense. The band leaders will then trickle it down to the players and say, no, we are not doing this. If you come with this and so on, you're not going to be a part of the of our band. And of course, as I always say, Spice Mass Corporation at the end of the day remains the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
So that is simple. If there is a band with animals and so on, we simply do not judge you. You're simply disqualified, from participating in the competitions. But of course, we want as much bands, as much masqueraders as possible to be part of the display. So I say education is the first path in terms of enlightening our masqueraders that you do not need that doing this. The animals, you're doing the animals is wrong, right? And it does not sell our jab. It does not sell our carnival. Persons looking at that internationally and saying, what's wrong with these people? Are they enlightened? Should I participate in that? Why would I want to be a part of that? So we need to be, we need to be sensible, of what we do, and we need to take, we need to take an enlightened approach, really, to what we need to do. There's enough of the masquerade, jab masquerade, the spelling, the chants, the jab make their own chants and so on, the beating of the drums and buckets and so on. Apart from there is enough for us to do to create and to maintain and to preserve the traditional display of jab without us using animals and so on. So I want to use this opportunity again to reach out to the mass band leaders and the jab practitioners to stop or avoid or do not use animals in as part of the display come Juve morning. I think that is extremely important. I think that does more harm than good to our carnival, and it's something that we don't want to see.
Tell me, sir, if you have noticed over the last couple of years, we have deterred from the traditional way of Grenada's carnival. Do you believe that's a good thing? When I say we have deterred, the authentic way that we used to look at the jab coming down Market Hill back in the day, and you're the short knee, and you were scared as a youngster watching them when they portraying their chants and stuff. What you say, we have something deterred from that to a point. It no longer get that focal point as it used to. We look at the regular mass bands, the portrayal is sometimes we say it's not authentic Grenadian anymore. How do you feel in reference to that, sir?
That's a loaded question, and I will try my best to answer you. Carnival will evolve.
Yes.
Naturally, it will evolve. Yes, it will, different generations will put their stamp on their carnival and their portrayal. So that is understandable, The carnival of the 1970s and 1980s will not be the same carnival in the 2020s, So there is a natural evolution and growth with the use of technology and so on and so forth of what we do. But at the same time, we have to ensure that our carnival do not become a blocko, right? And that what makes Grenada's carnival authentic, what makes it unique, what makes it marketable, is the culture of our carnival. And I keep saying that all the time. So that we have three pillars of carnival: mass, pan, and calypso. The soca music, both the subgenre, the groove, the power, it's in good hands, basically. I guess maybe later, as a music man yourself, we can go into a little deeper dive into the issue of the music this year. So, but the music is thing. The pan is in safe hands. We're seeing the growth. St. Mark's Steel Band is coming into the panorama this year, which is really good because the older folks remember Season Cinco Peters way in the back, in the years gone by. St. Mark's have always had good representation in steel band music. Of course, we have two steel bands from St. John's this year, Panacea and Grand Roy Pan Angels. Rainbow, IMA, Rainbow All-Stars continue to represent Big Parish, and it would be nice to see Tivoli and that catchment area again having their steel band. And of course, the mecca of the steel band movement remains in the parish of St. George, the tongue of St. George and its environs. So that maybe St. David's and St. Patrick's and Carriacou and Pitimatic are the parishes where we need to do a lot more work to ensure that we can pull out at least one steel band from these areas. But Pan is in a good way. It's probably the most steady of maintaining the tradition, and so the real threat is the issue of the mass. Yeah. One, the traditional mass, and we just spoke about the jab. We have a lot of jabs, and jab. When I was Minister of Culture, I thought that that is our unique and authentic part of our carnival that stood out, and we came up with the theme Spice Mass, home of 100,000 jabs, and we elevated it to what it is. We gave it national recognition and so on and so forth. But what we seen with regards to the jab, we have to make a distinction between getting black, getting oiled, bathing in the oil, and actually playing jab. You see, and that is where the point you made come in that jab is not simply getting black. It's not simply putting oil on your skin. We have seen over the years the use of the hi-fi or the DJ song, right? But the real jab, they make their own chants and beat their drums and beat their buckets and make their own music and blow the conch shell. So when persons come into this space, the Grenada space, to say they playing jab, these are the kind of experience that they want, that they look forward to, because anybody can get black any part of the world and drum behind a hi-fi system
and says jab.
Yeah. But it's not jab. It's the same thing that's happening all over the island now with this issue of Saraka. People cook food and give out free food and say they have a Saraka. That's not Saraka. You know what I mean? It's not Saraka, right? So we need to be careful with the jab. So the authenticity and the conservation and the preservation of what is the true jab display needs to be maintained. And I'm not saying that because I'm a traditionalist or a conservative, but I'm saying this is an important aspect of maintaining who we are as a people. That's our cultural identity, our carnival, and so on. And that if we allow that to fade over the years, we are going to lose what is uniquely ours, so to speak, you know. And but with regards to the fancy mass, we are losing that carnival art. We are losing the art of wire bending and costume designing. A lot of what you will see on Monday, on Tuesday, is imported.
Yes.
From primarily China and so on, and put together here. So that when I was growing up and when I know mass, you know, you had people in the mass band houses that were designing and making costumes and wire bending and different things as art, you know, and we are losing that fast. You know, the smaller, more original and indigenous mass bands in Grenada, they're struggling to put a masquerade together on Monday and Tuesday. And what you're getting is these costumes that you purchase from abroad. You know, and I respect people's choices, you know, to have fun and so on and so forth. You know, I mean, it's not a slight on them, really. But how are we now to create a space where our costumes are attractive, but at the same time we're able to maintain the carnival art of wire bending and costume designing and costume construction and so on and so forth. I mean, just this morning, I did not go to Queen Show, all right. But person speaking to me this morning saying they didn't think that the costumes that the queens portrayed last night was of the highest quality.
Okay.
Well, and that is so because we do not have much persons making and designing costumes, so that it's not just for the road, but but for the queen shows, for the parade of the king and queens of the bands and so on. You know, you need people to construct those. So that I'm fearful that we are losing that art.
Losing that uniquely Grenadian
feel of it, so that our costume don't look different from what you see in St. Lucia or Trinidad.
So true.
You know what I mean? So, you know, we have to, at some level, you know, we have to be conscious that, listen, we need to do the things that is authentically Grenadian, so that we are able to keep our space in this crazy carnival market. Because really and truly, what you see in carnival is a business circuit. You know, you have investors that go all over the Caribbean and North America doing these carnivals, and we can get caught up in it and lose what is uniquely ours.
Tell me, sir, the overall development of carnival, what do we need to do? As you mentioned, Carnival has evolved in Grenada. It's not what we saw the 25 years ago or so. Carnival has evolved. Carnival has come to a different level of it. But that the overall development that you, for yourself as a cultural enthusiast yourself, what would you like to see in that overall development of Carnival in Grenada, sir?
I think we're at a stage where the production of the shows this weekend.
Yeah.
So Kamunak, the Panorama, the March Gras, the Calypso Finals, the parade on Mondays and Tuesdays. People look to that.
So it's like same old.
Yeah, people look to that and say we have a good or a bad carnival. You know, they judge it on the production of those shows and say we have a good or bad carnival. But for persons like myself, I have had my carnival already in terms of going to the Calypso tents, doing the preliminaries and the semis of the different Calypso competitions and soca competitions. What I think we need to put a lot more emphasis on strategic thinking in developing the carnival season. Yeah. So that what we've had now for the past 2-3 weeks on average, we've had a sprint to the finish. A lot of activities, events clashing, you know, even Spice Mass events are clashing with each other. You know, you don't know if to go to the Calypso tent or if to go to the St. Andrews Parish Carnival Lounge and so on and so forth. So that there is a need for better coordination of events, of the Spice Mass events that will develop develop into a season, basically. That's one. We need to strengthen parish carnivals. That's an area that we are a bit weak in. I can tell you that I have been to St. Vincent and the Grenadines St. Vincent Carnival, and there is a real buzz when there are village or community activities around Carnival. Last Friday, I was a sponsor in the what we call the first ever gun battle Soca Monarch, and that was a tremendous success. Just to see the community comes alive and so on, and you see talent that you hear songs that you never play on GBN, and you see talent that is not known nationally go onto the stage and perform their heart out basically, and so on, so that you unearth these sort of talents. Very similar to the GBN Carnage Soca Monarch thing, Eagle and the Eagle landing and so on and so on. It gives, and that's where the Grease came from last year and so on.
Made that get that breakout for himself.
Exactly, so that those sort of community-based activities and so on is extremely important. So that we need to develop a season. It's not good enough what happens from the launch of Carnival to now. You feel that the 2-3 weeks. There's enough, I believe, we can do to ensure that there is structure. When you look at the junior calypso competitions, for instance, when I started to judge calypso many moons ago, we used to have a semi-finals for the junior calypsos. Now there is not even enough. There is not even enough junior calypsonians. Now everybody gone to the finals. So those are things that, and I made that point on GBN DNA headlines on Monday. Somebody need to do the hard work in terms of developing the cultural art forms. It's not just about putting a product on a stage come the second Monday and Tuesday in August. You have to develop this product year round, so that at the end of the day you get quality. You can't say that this is not good. No, it doesn't just happen. You have to work on it, and I also initiated years ago what we call making of the mass bands in the schools, where you encourage young students and so on to design and to make their own costumes in the schools. And persons older than myself will say to you, listen, I play mass when I was going to primary school or secondary school and so forth. And that's extremely important, because there it is that we can nurture this talent of the carnival arts and so on. So GT, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. It does not mean that what is happening is no good, of course. It does not mean that
anyone will say that, but we just want to see that growth.
That growth, and
we should see something every year that makes a difference once the participation of everyone.
And we want it to be rooted, in the uniqueness of Grenada, and to do that, so that, and that is, to do that will ensure the preservation of this what I refer to as the carnival arts. Pan is being taught in schools. Of course the program can be expanded and so on, but look at the amount of young people, hundreds of young people that play pan, so that we know, even after school they continue to play pan for 10 years, 15 years after they leave school. That is good. That's a good investment. Similarly, the mass, if we get school children playing mass at a young age and so on, and they will continue for a few years after they leave school, and that put the mass in a good place. So those are the sort of
it's about drawing their interest. I would say it's about drawing
their interest, and once they get hooked, you'll stay there for a while. Yes.
We drew for a break, so let's take it. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us, folks. To the point. Classic Radio GBN TV. We will be right back. Don't touch it out.
Parents, do you go to bed with the knowledge that your children are comfortably asleep in the next room? Or are they allowed to attend every fete advertised? You are responsible for the safety and well-being of your children, and it is your responsibility to know their whereabouts. Children should not be at adult events. Please guide your children, engage them in age-appropriate activities. Let us be spicy parents for this carnival season and beyond. S. Speak to your children about positive behavior. P. Pay attention to them at all times. I. I. Inspire good behavior in your children by also displaying good behavior. C. Check with your children. Always know their whereabouts. Why? You are responsible for your children. Maintain control to keep them safe. This is a message from the National Parenting Program, Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs.
Life doesn't stand still. It moves. It grows. It asks you to believe in what's next. Your first car. Owning your home. The business you build. The future you choose to invest in. Life moves in steps. When you're ready to take the next one, we're here to help you move forward with banking solutions designed for life. From vehicle financing and mortgages to education savings, credit solutions, and support for your growing business. Republic Bank, ready for life, every step.
Attention Carnival lovers, as we gear up to celebrate Spice Mass, the Cannabis Secretariat has an important reminder for all residents and visitors. Smoking cannabis in public places is illegal. And remember, it's against the law to supply cannabis to anyone under 21. Thanks to recent amendments, you can enjoy personal, medicinal, and therapeutic use in private. But let's keep our celebration safe and responsible. That means no public sales, no public smoking, and please don't engage with anyone under 21. Let's protect our nation and have a fantastic carnival season. The Cannabis Secretariat, guiding responsible cannabis use and awareness in Grenada. Enjoy and stay safe.
Come and get your son.
Coming up on Caribbean Passport, it's pulsating energy, deep cultural traditions. It's none other than Barbados crop over. Being at one with nature's no problem in Antigua and Barbuda, so let's swim with the stingrays. Fashion that's all-inclusive. And Caribbean tourism is at the forefront in Guyana. Be viewing Caribbean Passport as we explore the beauty of our region, right here on this station.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, once again. To the point, Classic Radio, GBN TV. Of course, we have the Deputy Political Leader of the DPM with us this morning, Mr. Arley Gill. Of course, our conversation seems to focus a wee bit on Carnival, but we will touch some politics this morning. We will, but you know, we focus a wee bit.
Yes,
I want to touch a wee bit about, you know, protecting culture, the authenticity, and, you know, the commercial growth. You always hear that talk in relation to Carnival. You know, amidst the you know, the regional debates, you know, about Carnival origin and you know, the ownership and creativity, the corporate pageantry, how does Grenada preserve that raw, you know, foundational historical memory of the Jab Jab one while competing commercially, sir?
Carnival is the biggest tourism product.
Yeah.
So we start from there. There is no other time in the calendar year where we have more visitors coming to our shows than Carnival. So the hotels, guest houses, Airbnb, they're all filled. Taxi drivers are happy. A lot of car rentals, the rentals are out. Sale of food right across the board. There's a serious economic injection for the 2 weeks around Carnival. So the commercial aspect of it is there. You cannot deny it. The whole Carnival economy works is that while the government do get some resources directly into their coffers, but Carnival economy it impacts and it trickles down to the vendor, the person selling a case of drinks on the road, selling watermelon and so on and so forth. So it really trickles and it creates an excellent economic activity for the ordinary man around Carnival. That is one thing, and that is why we spoke earlier of how at the end of the day we can preserve what is uniquely Grenadian. People are coming here to Grenada because they believe that we have a product that you cannot get anywhere else, and that is why I say to you, if you look at the strengths of Grenada Carnival, you may want to begin with, of course, the Juve and the Jab Jab. And we spoke earlier with regards to how do we preserve and conserve that, because that is extremely important, and it's not just getting black. Then you will have the Monday Night Mass. The Monday Night Mass is not something that you find anywhere else in the region. We do this Monday Night Mass unique in a unique way. And let me say, when the Monday Night Mass was first introduced, I was one of the critics of it. Yeah. I wrote articles and I said, a t-shirt mass and so on. But it has grown and it has developed into a wonderful spectacle. Yeah. Of a mass that is affordable to persons. It's more expensive now. That was $40 or $50 now. When I hear the price quotations over $100.
You still need that strengthening.
Yes.
Still need that strengthening.
Well, I mean, the logistics of it now is a nightmare. Persons say Monday Night Mass run late, but the issue of it is that a lot of the trucks and DJs that play for the Monday Night Mass bands, they also do their bit for the evening wear of the fancy mass band, so that by the time they finish and get to the station, so there is a logistical nightmare that goes beyond Monday Night Mass to get Monday Night Mass finishing at a respectable or maybe 12 midnight one, which is what was the goal or the objective. Now he runs a bit late because there are so many. The Monday is crammed. And you'll see some of the mass bands now, they start doing Juve sections.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I don't sure how healthy is that, and in terms of you're trying to do everything, right? So they have the Juve, so they into the Juve, then the members go home and come back for the evening wear, and then the same person that do the evening wear come back for the Monday Night Mass. It's just and you have limited resource in terms of the mass in terms of the trucks and the DJs, so it's just too much. But the Monday Night Mass, of course, is one of our strengths. So our music, our Juve, our Monday Night, our Monday Night Mass, and so. But how do you ensure that, in a real sense, the experience that we give our visitors, that we give ourselves, is unique, to keep them coming? So, because what we can very well have is a period of high energy of now for the past 2-3 years, persons coming in, and then for the next 5 years and so on, we started seeing numbers trickling down because people felt that they have done and seen all they can do with the Spice Mass. How do we keep persons' interest? How do we keep them coming back every year and keep that vibe and so on and so forth? So that's where we have work to do. And I maintain and I argue that what needs to be done is ensuring that we keep the uniqueness of Grenada Carnival, is strengthening the Jab Jab portrayals, and this year, God's willing, once I have the energy, I want to do Juve in Grenville on Monday, because I believe that the Lafayette Jab and so on, they do an excellent work in ensuring that what you experience is traditional Jab. So that is something that we want to maintain. The other thing, again, then we have Grenada is the only carnival with 2 Juves. You can do Juve morning in St. George's and so on Tuesday. You can go Sotters and go off. So there are tremendous strengths, but it comes down to ensuring that in all of this carnival growth that we speak of, we must be mindful of ensuring that we put structures in place, that we make the relevant investments to ensure that the uniqueness of the greater carnival is maintained, and that has to be done year round. I would strongly suggest the Ministry of Culture and the Cultural Foundation should be working in the schools and communities and so on to ensure that not just jab, but the Shotney, the Veco, and so on, the Maple, and so is rooted in the schools and among the young people, so that come carnival time we can put together a quality product.
So let me ask you this: How can we, as Grenadians, governments, potential, of course, candidate to be, hopefully becoming a member of parliament, balance the promoting of Spice Mass as a major tourism asset while ensuring that the local culture practitioners, the grassroots communities, and reap that financial reward from it?
And that is where we go into the parish carnivals.
Yeah.
Years ago when I was minister, we strategically put the traditional mass in Victoria.
Yes.
Then we had the preliminaries of the Groovy and Power Soca Monarch. We did it outside of the parishes of St. George and St. Andrews. St. Andrews traditionally gets the semis, St. George's get the finals, so that for the preliminaries you go St. Mark, St. Patrick, St. David, St. John's. You do the preliminaries, so that all of the different so we're making carnival nationwide, and significant carnival activities will happen right across the country. We cannot concentrate all. St. George's is a city. It has the major venues and so on and so forth, so that when you talk about crowd and capacity, St. George's and St. Andrews are best able to handle that, right? But we must ensure that carnival activities are not just held in the major tongue of the tongue of St. George and Grenville. The other parishes must feel involved and as well. But if we developed in the 80s and 90s, we had Queen shows in the parishes. You had Queen show in Guelph, you had Odyssey Guelph at Soca Monarch, and so on, apart from the thing. So these the parish carnivals can be developed, and the parish carnivals developing will create for us enough activities to assist us in building a season.
Yes.
So that the job is not just upon Spice Mass alone to give us activities to sustain a season. But if we sufficiently develop, and of course through Spice Mass, working with the parish carnival committees, we can ensure that significant carnival activities, grassroots engagement and involvement, grassroots people benefiting from carnival activities to ensure that we have a further trickle down of economic activities across the board. And that is, to my mind, the grand plan for carnival. But it cannot, it will not happen by accident. We have to work year round to ensure that it is done. Total rethinking and engaging people. Like I said, on GBNB on the headlines, we must have a conversation about this. And I believe carnival and culture, and I've said it publicly, and I think I leave it, is that to my mind is beyond party politics. You know what I mean? It's not a NNP issue, NDC or DPM issue, and so on and so forth. Let us engage the best minds on these issues and see how we can develop.
This leads to my next set of questions I want to ask. I want to talk about the diaspora, mobilization in terms of the creative industry investment. When I say that, let's speak of the issue, maximizing creative and the financial participants of Grenada in the diaspora, particularly those in the New York area, and see as crucial for the year-long expansion of the local creative art sector. And when I say that, it leads me to ask this question. During your tenure as the Spice Mass Corporation chair, you emphasized that the targeted the diaspora market. I could remember you hearing those conversations from you a whole lot. Are current policies doing enough to incentivize, Grenadians abroad to produce music, join the steel band, or even invest directly into our creative industry year-round, sir? Do you believe that is happening?
Not enough. If it is happening, it's not enough. And the diaspora, they're here in the thousands for carnival. in playing mass. I know a lot of persons from the diaspora participate in the mass bands. They play the mass bands. They are involved in a lot of the private fetes, buying online the tickets and so on and so forth. And that is good. And I can say to you that in my time, even as minister, I initiated all of these carnival launch in London, New York, Toronto, Trinidad, and so. And St. Vincent was the last one that I did. And I can say to you that yesterday, for instance, we've had over 220 Vincentians coming to Grenada on 2 catamarans. We have probably over 300 Vincentians there for Spice Mass, taking the plane flights and so on, which is excellent. And I know that the Grenadians in the diaspora, they are eager to invest. We've had quite a few of them. Muscles come every year to take part in the Calypso. Yeah. And you would have Mr. Legs took part in the prelim and semi-finals or so. And guys always coming to. But we need more. We need a more concerted effort of it. Years ago, the experiment was had to have a Calypso tent in New York that will participate directly. It was faced with challenges that has phased out. But how we can have, and I know that there are some investment in the mass bands from pockets of the diaspora and so on and so forth. But I believe, and I maintain, and I said to persons, that if we market significantly, there are enough Grenadians abroad to come back for Carnival is a big enough market. So true. It's a massive market. New York, Toronto, London, and wherever else, there is a big enough market. And we are happy that they come back home and come in the numbers. And I can say to you, when we started to market heavily in the diaspora, the hotel sector and someone was saying, they do not benefit because these persons may very well go to family homes and so on, but that's not true. If you go to Radisson, you go to a lot of the hotels there, it is Grenadians from the diaspora living there. Yes. They're not go, they have disposable income. They don't think they have to go to mommy and daddy house. They go to the village. They put on cook and so on and so forth, but they go to sleep in their own Airbnb and their own space because they can afford to, and that is an excellent sign. But also without just them coming home for Carnival, how do we use our diaspora to ensure that the artists in particular have a sustainable market year round? This year we are faced with quite a few of our top local acts. Their visas have been revoked, so that closes down the US market for them until that problem is rectified. And I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I call upon the Ministry of Culture and Foreign Affairs to intervene and to see how best we can assist, because that US market provides a real livelihood to many of our artists. But the US is not the only market. I remember in my days when I was managing Mr. Killer, the Canada market was a really good market for us, both Montreal and Toronto, and we did a couple of gigs in London as well, and the rest of the Caribbean. So we have to map out in a real structured way, and that's the thing. You can't just talk about an industrial industry and then we're happy when we hear Vaughn outside and we're happy when we hear Mr. Killer outside and Talpri going out there and so on and so forth and do the different shows. It must not just be by accident. I believe that we can, through Spice Mass and through the Office of the Creative Affairs, we can map out a sort of a roadmap for potential areas for our artists to perform practically year-round in different pockets or different areas of the diaspora throughout, so that we keep them active and we keep them the revenue generation.
Yeah, and they don't have to rely solely on that brief Spice Mass window.
But that's another important thing. Because of the shortness of the season and so on, how many artists really make money during Grenada's Carnival?
That's a big question.
You probably could count those that are doing the events and so on one or two hands. But the season is so short and such a rush and few activities that how many of our local acts come back with a significant financial return before Carnival is over?
It's minimal.
And that is why ensuring that they get gigs throughout the year to keep them going, is extremely important, because at the end of the day, they want to be doing this thing, but they want to ensure that, listen, they can pay a bill and they have families to look after as well.
Yeah, so true. I want to talk to you about the judging infrastructure, the carnival stakeholders, politics, as they would say. Now, the issues. Issues such as the splitting of the Calypso groups into competing bodies, structures, frictions, in Grenada Steelpan Association, the accuracy of the judging panel, and have historically hindered progress. Some folks may say that. You understand? You have previously pointed out that the fragmentation among the cultural associations, such as the Calypso and Pan bodies, how does this internal dysfunction weaken the execution of Spice Master? And what is your blueprint to unite these stakeholders?
The vision of the Calypso Association is a fundamental weakness of our carnival.
Yeah.
Not just a fundamental weakness in the Calypso fraternity, but it negatively affects our carnival. If you follow this year and what transpired in the semi-finals, with the deeping of the bands and so on and so forth, so you had Kaiso Bars and Kaiso Bars 2.0 performing 1 and 4 in the semi-finals, and that every time a new tent had to perform, the band have to set up, so that the start stop and the extra time which was taken out for bands, for the music bands, the backing bands, to set up, it created drag on the show.
I agree.
And the show was longer, significantly longer than it ought to be if it was a smoother show. Now, if there was one Calypso Association and there was a meeting of the minds on these issues, you will very well find that they within the Calypso Association, they'll be able to sort these things out, smooth these things out, and present a better national product. So that I have fought for many years to see how best we can unite the Calypso Association, but it has, my efforts have not bear any fruit, and I think other persons may have made an effort as well, and it boils down really and truly to one, politics, and two, personalities.
Yeah.
There is really no difference among Calypsonians and what is Calypsonians need to do for the betterment of the culture, basically, that keeps Calypsonians apart. It's one, the personality of the leadership and so on, and two, there was this political issue which I think is still lingering, between different fractions of the Calypso, and it's hurting the effective planning and so on, because, for instance, I has commended Finley Jeffrey, Scholar, and the team of the Kaiso Bars for what they have done this year. They did an excellent job. I think it's one of the best things coming out of Spice Mass this year. They put on multiple shows before judging night, and then they introduced something called Calypso backstage, right? So that in the Methodist School in Granville, so whereby they open their doors for persons to come and to see the Calypsonians rehearse, and it was a spectacular occasion. So the Calypsonians were there rehearsing basically and so forth, and you pay a little $10, you go in, you have a beer, you sit down, you listen to Fella's boss and start up and do it again, and they get a chance to perform, and it was excellent, I thought. So that experience, to my mind, could easily be spread or shared with other Calypso tents and say, fellas, hey, we have this initiative, we believe it can work, you can try it as well.
Yes.
So that what is working for one Calypso tent can be shared to other Calypso tents.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be just Kaiso Bars doing that, but of course, with the division of the Calypso tents, the other Calypso tents may feel hesitant to adopt such a structure, because they may feel that if they do that, Kaiso Bars fellas go say you're copying with things. And you know what I mean? So it's not, I'm not saying
about the growth.
I'm not saying that they will say that, but I'm just saying that the sharing of ideas of how we can develop this thing, if we were all together in unity and so on, we can share best practices, and so I honestly believe that the continuing division of the Calypso Association is hurting the growth of the art form, and I really this year I've not heard much or anything from the Greater Mass Band Association. I don't know if by now it's defunct. So, these structures that were there and was played a critical role in terms of putting on, taking charge of the different pillars of Carnival: Calypso Association, Pan Association, Mass Band Association. The Steel Band Association is arguably the most stable, easily the most stable of the three associations. And you can see that even though the patronage of Panorama is not the greatest, but Pan is in safe hands. They do multiple shows a year. You have Pan on the Beach, you have Bomb Tune, you have this, you have that. The Steel Band Association is active. The Calypso associations, I want to use this opportunity to call on the Calypsonians to please bury your hatchets, unite, forgive each other, and to see if we can have one Calypso association going into 2027. It's the best for all of us, and it will be the best thing for the culture.
Tell me, sir, drawing from your personal experience, you did mention earlier that you have been a former Calypso judge and so. What reform would you say are still required to ensure that the transparency and professionalism in judging major competition like Calypso, Soca, United Finals and so? Talk to me about that, sir.
Right. So I hosted about 2 seminars this year. I call it dialogues, working with the Calypso judges, sharing with them refreshers, because I say to them, if you're judging Calypso for a while, there's nothing I could teach you about the criteria. You know what is lyrics, you know what is melody, and so on. So I shared some philosophical perspectives with them. How do you, one, I say to judges, Calypso judges, that just like judges in the Supreme Court that judge do criminal matters or civil matters, the same principles applies.
Yes.
The principle of fairness. The principle of maturity. Nobody can teach you that. But you cannot be a Calypso judge and say you're a fan of this and a fan of the other. All the Calypsonians, everybody that come before you starts with zero.
Even as close as your friendship may be with another.
Exactly. You have to create that. You need to have that maturity.
Yes.
If you don't have that maturity, you have no business of judging. So fairness, maturity, impartiality, and so on and so forth. If you're judging the Soca Monarch, any of the shows tonight, you need to have proper preparation, right? Your adequate time of rest, relaxation, meditation, and so on and so forth, so that you do your best. I honestly believe that judges and so on do not deliberately steal or rob and so on and so forth. I think we have passed the stage for that. I think we have a highly competent cadre of judges and so on, Calypso judges. Most of the times they do get it right. But that is the levels. They have to be mature. They have to be full-time lovers of Calypso or Soca music. As I say to them, you cannot just listen Grenada music. You have to listen music right across the region, because you may very well find that somebody singing a song that they hear in Anguilla and reading Grenada, but if you don't know, then they pull a hood on you and you say yes, so that it cannot be all foolproof, but you really got to study and be a lover of the Calypso music and Soca music and so on to be a competent judge. Right. The criteria is there, the challenges now for the AI, is a real issue with AI.
So you got to keep updating yourself,
updating yourself, especially for the groovy, all the subgenre of the music. You have to know. You're judging one's creativity, artist's creativity in writing and so on. How does the AI impact on that? And that is something that we continue to work on. I don't think anybody has the solution or the answer for it, but it's a reality that AI is there, and persons can use AI to polish off their writings and so on. So that's an issue they need to look at. So I want to encourage the adjudicators this weekend, and Spice Mass and so have to get it right in terms of the the panel, in my time and so on. What we try to do, like any Soca Monarch and thing tonight, you're looking for judges with a little background in music, a little background in literature, a little background in theater arts and so on and so forth. You put a mix of that together. They put a mix of experience and youth, because you want to prepare for the next 5-10 years. So judge wouldn't judge for the rest of their life and so on and so forth. So you had to prepare different generations of judges. And I think for tonight, the judges preparation that involves rest, involve reflection, and then on the night being able to be strong enough, yes, to remain objective regardless of the crowd response. Crowd response in the Soca Monarch is 10 points, it's not 100. And then you have to at that same time distinguish what is a fan base response,
yes,
right? Because there are some artists with large fan base that they will, from a time a name call and no 10 and strike up yet, you hear hey, and then you will get somebody who will come and work that crowd from beginning to end without a large fan base and create serious euphoria. So that the judges have to be sharp, and on top of the game to distinguish all these little nuances and so on to make sense of it. But I wish them all the best. I believe the competition is keen in all of in the groovy, in the power, in the kaiso, and they have to be on top of their game.
All right. We drew for a break. Let's take it. We have a couple of minutes left. When we come back, we invite our listeners to see the phones already going and show they do have a question or two they may like to ask. We do that in the next segment. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back. Don't touch it out.
Cultural Foundation warmly encourages everyone to celebrate and enjoy the excitement of Carnival in a spirit of unity, respect, and national pride. We kindly appeal to members of the public to respect our masqueraders and revelers by refraining from joining bands unless you are properly costumed and or registered as a player of that band. We also recognize and commend the invaluable role that DJs play in promoting Grenadian music and creating the vibrant atmosphere that makes our carnival so special. At the same time, spectators look forward to experiencing the authentic sounds and traditions that define our unique carnival. The rhythmic beating of the jab-jab drums, the chants of the shotney, the powerful stomping of our feko, and the captivating display of our patches. In the true spirit of Grenadian Carnival, we respectfully ask our DJs to pause the music as bands approach, allowing masqueraders, especially our traditional mass bands, to present their performances without interruptions so that everyone can fully appreciate these treasured cultural expressions. Together, let us celebrate a carnival where locals and visitors alike can immerse themselves in the richness, authenticity, and vibrant traditions that make Grenada Carnival a truly unforgettable experience. Let us claim this as our own. This is a message from Grenada.
Plus I me vex money, I'm back in me bag on this road. Cause the season open.
Miss Daisy, please come and get your good for nothings, and I say.
Attention carnival lovers. As we gear up to celebrate Spice Mass, the Cannabis Secretariat has an important reminder for all residents and visitors. Smoking cannabis in public places is illegal. And remember, it's against the law to supply cannabis to anyone under 21. Thanks to recent amendments, you can enjoy personal, medicinal, and therapeutic use in private. But let's keep our celebration safe and responsible. That means no public sales, no public smoking, and please don't engage with anyone under 21. Let's protect our nation and have a fantastic carnival season. The Cannabis Secretariat, guiding responsible cannabis use and awareness in Grenada. Enjoy and stay safe.
Come and get your son.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. We have a couple of minutes left on the show, just roughly 5 minutes, I would say. We will give that to our listeners and viewers opportunity to ask a question. Our focus this morning basically is around Carnival. We chose to talk about that this morning. It's Carnival Friday.
Yeah, it's Carnival Friday.
Carnival Friday, so we give the politics a slight rest for a bit. So, callers, 4352041. We do have our first caller. Caller live. Good morning. Welcome.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir. Go right ahead, please.
You're right. And don't take this in bad spirits. A couple of musicians and myself who worked on the cruise ship for years, who played in the hotel industry, who've been performing and who understand the intricacies of music, they too totally agree with me. And I'm talking about accomplished musicians, singers, artists, arrangers. So I'm talking from a point of view of knowing. Now, I've heard Mr. Arley stated that he thinks the judges are competent. And I remember in a musical, they were basically teaching the judges seminar. I remember a couple of years ago. The same Mr. Arley, enough respect, said that Calypso is not about singing. And the same Mr. Arley today, I heard him said that they have competent judges. But let me remind him, we may have good songwriters, good performers, people who are popular and people love the song. But there is one particular ingredient which we are lacking in and which we see. For example, I could point it out to you. We see a monotonous melodies of other songs. The melodies are same because a song could be properly written, a written song, right? A good written song is not the total. It's not the total thing of a song itself that have musical accompaniment and so on. And what we've been seeing is that the judges are basically either they don't know what is melody, or they're just fighting people, or let them just say the competition is for the popular ones with the most popular songs, and then just leave it like that. Because if you're judging by criteria, it therefore means that a lot of the criteria have been missed out. And if, based upon what the gentleman is saying, and a lot of musicians will agree with me, a lot of calypsonians will agree with me, and basically on what I'm saying, it therefore means that we have some disparity with the judges, with their concept, because their concept of a good calypso, you have to be a good written song, but you have criteria. You could have a good written song with the same melodic structure of a next song.
Well, I'm going to ask you to take another 10 seconds and wrap up your contribution, please.
So that is where the problem is, because we hear misinformation from people who claim that they know, like the gentleman that you have there, and they don't know. And that's the problem in Grenada. He don't know what he's saying.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. You want to respond to the caller?
I wouldn't respond to the caller. I just say to the caller, if you know the history of Arley Gill in Calypso, you would not make these comments, really. And I maintain that I believe that we have a competent cadre of Calypso judges. I believe that I have worked with them, I have listened to them, and I believe that they know what is melody. If you're a competitor and you did not get selected for the semi-finals or the finals, there's no reason why you should think that the judges are no good. And what is your concept of a properly written song? Would involve lyrics and melody, right? A written song does not just mean the lyrics of the song. A well-written song would involve lyrics and melody. That is what will comprise a good written song.
Okay.
And you've never heard me talk about just singing. I have written an article and I've maintained that Calypso competitions is a song competition. That is what you would have heard me say. A song competition, because if you look at the criteria, of 70% or so of 70% out of 100 involves the song itself. In terms of melody, 30, lyrics, 30, originality, 10. All come from the song, so that's 70% out of 100 that is concerns about the song. And then you have rendition and so on and so forth, that presentation, which makes up the next 30. So that is my argument, and that is what I've maintained. It's a simple fact. So that yes, I agree that there may persons agree with you on some, but I don't think there's any reason to think that our Calypso judges do not know what they are doing. If it is that you probably got a raw deal or the decision did not go your way, it's no reason to just cast it and say the judges authorities don't know what they're doing or they bias or what have you. I think we have to move that discussion in a more mature and responsible way, frankly.
All right. We do have another caller, which will be our final caller on this segment. Caller, you're live. Good morning, and I beg of you to be brief. Please go right ahead,
morning,
please.
GT, and morning to Mr. Gill. Mr. Gill will know who's calling. As one of those people who have revived the GPCA, that the Grenada Progressive Calypso Association, when the politics came in and affected the association, although I was one of those who believed that we shouldn't divide, I ended up with GPAC because I couldn't identify with the other faction. I would want to ask him, he said that he would like, and I agree with him, we should try and find a reunification or unification of the Calypsonian. Would he probably agree that maybe we should revert back to the Grenada Progressive Calypso Association and improve it? When the leaders in the 70s organized the association, they had it as a trade union. I think, unfortunately, most people, and even then, when we had the split, didn't understand what the Calypso Association represents, a union. Would you support that? Resorting back to the GPT as because I agree that people may think, well, GPAC or the other one, people may have fundamental, still have differences, but if you go back to the original one, it might be a basis for solution.
Thank you, caller. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade.
Give him a brief response.
Yes, thank you, comrade. And I know and I recognize your hard work that you have done with regards to Calypso and Calypso Association. You're one of the founders of this thing, and I wish that you will duly be recognized for your hard work. And I agree. I believe if it is that GPAC and so on, they cannot agree to go into one or the other camp, then we could revert back to the Greater Progressive Calypso Association, or find a name that everybody will be comfortable with. The idea is to have Calypsonians under one umbrella. I think that is the best situation for the culture.
All right. So, Gill, I want to thank you once again. That's why we're going to take a wrap today. Interesting conversation in terms of Carnival and so forth. I certainly did enjoy it. Learned a lot in terms of what you said. And I know we need more of this conversation to move Grenada forward, especially when it comes to cultural activities like Carnival.
Thank you very much, GT, for having me and to have that discussion. It's Carnival Friday, and allow me to end on a note of wishing everyone a happy Carnival.
I wish you the same.
May the best man win. May the best woman win in the different competitions. Congratulations to all of the winners before that, and may we have a safe and enjoyable carnival. Safety being an operative word. So peaceful carnival, please, everyone. Leave the weapons at home, and let we whine and grind and put our hands in the air. Leave the knife, the thing at home, and let us welcome the visitors. Right. Give the visitors a special welcome. Give them a shot of rivers, a little water, and so on and so forth. If they miss their route, throw them back on the right path. Let me take care of them so that they come back and they keep coming. Thank you so much.
Certainly make it a memorable one. Yes. Thank you, sir, once again.
Thank you so much.
Hey, folks, that's how we're going to wrap today's edition of To The Point. Thanks all who contributed once again. Have a good one. That's where we say goodbye.